Well, it seems like the Cargo authors certainly took a lot from NPM. They took many of the good parts, but also the bad parts. Today we'll go over this. I'll show you some problems I'm having right now and how I go about fixing them. We all have been there. You download a project from GitHub, then try building it, and it just doesn't work. Hopefully. And I have to say that many times the compiler will tell you what the error is and how to fix it. You just do as the compiler says and you move on with your life. If that doesn't work, then you're in for a ride. You go look it up on Google, hopefully find a ticket on GitHub that tells you which version of the offending library to use. Hopefully there are not too many personal attacks, you know, left versus right politics and stuff. If so, consider yourself lucky. You solved your issue. Well, that's not great. And it's terrible that those 15 people found the same issue individually and they had to go look for the same solution over and over. This is just not acceptable. But if we want to fix it, we need to take a step back and understand how semantic version control works. It's a clear way to communicate what kind of changes have been made in each new release of your software. Think of software versions like a relationship. You're in version 1.0.0. It's all good. You're in the honeymoon phase. That first number, that's the major version. Now, if you screw up big time, and I'm telling you, dude, you will. Like, I don't know, you cheat or something, and it leads to a major breakup, boom, that's a major change. You are now at 2.0.0. A whole new relationship because the old one is done, finished, and there's no going back. The middle number, the minor version, is like making some decent improvements. Maybe you finally remember the coffee order. You're still in the same relationship, just slightly better. And that last number, the patch version, that's when you fix the little things, like actually putting the cap back on the toothpaste. No big deal, no one is breaking up over it, but it makes life a little bit smoother. Major increases when you make a breaking change. Minor increases when you add functionality maintaining backward compatibility. And patch, by definition, increases when you just fix a bug or something while maintaining compatibility and no breaking changes. By the way, those libraries that have been going strong for 5 years and are still on version 0, I think they have a huge commitment issue. These libraries have been on this weird limbo forever, like,
oh yeah, we're technically together, but I'm not ready to call it version 0 yet.
They keep making changes, new features, bug fixes, but they never actually commit to anything solid. Okay, so let's start with the most basic way to install a dependency. So you just do cargo at Tokyo, because we are very original, so Tokyo. Now Tokyo gets installed. By default, I think Cargo will try to install the latest version of the library. You'll see that there's another weird file in there called cargo.lock. Cargo.lock documents the resolved version and checksum of all the dependencies in your project. Rust needs this file because when it's building your project, it will create a very complex graph. All the libraries that you depend on, and all the libraries that that library depends on, and so on and so forth. Here's where things start to get interesting. Say we put version 1.0.0. I expect Rust to install this exact version. Even when I specified version 1.0.0, 1.39 is installed. Why is that? Well, it turns out that this does not mean always install version 1.0.0. It means install version 1.0.0 or a newer, minor, or patch version. That's why it's bumping you to the latest. Instead, if I put the equal symbol there, and then I say cargo build, it just didn't find version 1.0.0. Oh, I see. So 1.0 was removed, or yanked, as they call it. This version has been yanked, but it is available for download for other crates that might be depending on it. So let's say we want 1.0.1. Can we install that? Yep, yeah, we can. And then if we look at the TOML file, sorry, the log file, it did install the version that we expect. So that's fantastic. So far, so good. Now, what happens if there's a conflict between the versions that two crates are requesting? Crate A is requesting version 1.0.1, while crate B is requesting the latest, right? So we have crate A, crate B, and then let's create a third crate that uses both crates. It's going to be called Papa crate, and it's going to depend both on crate A and crate B. So crate A and crate B. Now let's try compiling it. And sure enough, we get the error that we expect. And how do we solve it? Well, let's relax the version that we are requesting. If we relax the version on the right, I don't think it's going to compile. Crate B expects a version equal or newer than 1.39.3, while crate A is locked to this older version. So let's just test it. It doesn't work. If we force or request the exact version 1.39.3 on the crate B, but relax the version that we expect on crate A, for that, you just as a reminder, you can just put nothing or put the caret. I like putting the caret because of the JavaScript days, I guess. So now it does compile. And this makes so much sense because imagine that we put crate A for some reason in crates.io. If we are saying, hey, you can use any version of Tokyo as long as it is equal or newer than 1.0.1. As long as it's major version 1, I accept any newer versions. And that provides a lot of flexibility because now users can use your library with any version of Tokyo 1x, which is great. It's very flexible. I've seen actually Tokyo use the tilde operator. So let's try the same thing, but using tilde operator here. I think, boom, there you go, tilde operator. Will it build? No, it won't, because we are saying that we are willing to accept a version of Tokyo that is 1.0.x. So that means that it won't accept 1.39. It's too new. Now, let's see if we can bump these and then compile again. Now it's happy. So those errors were very cute. Now I'm going to show you the errors that I face in production every day. I'm going to use the Leptos website as an example, not to pick on them or anything, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Will it compile? I don't think so. Boom. So right off the bat, we start with a compiler error. We cannot compile the time package, which is very suspicious because when you create libraries, first thing that crates.io does is to test that your crate compiles. So this tells me that probably my toolchain is incompatible with the toolchain that the guys over at Leptos used to build this. What I'm going to do is ignore my instincts, and instead I'm going to start upgrading packages. So what I mean is cargo update time, right? So I'm just going to start updating these packages and see if I can get a clean build. Obviously, I'm going to speed this up for you so that you're not looking at a stupid compiler thing. All right, now there's an error about WASM CLI. So sure, she'll be able to update. I'll update, man. No worries. I'll update everything. Oh boy. Okay. So there's another problem with the A hash crate. Let me go ahead and update that too. Oh boy, there are two of them. Just update both. I don't care. Okay, updated one, and then the other one, I want to update it too. Oh, then something else breaks. All right, let me update that too. All right, do the thing. Do the thing. So what you got yourself a working website. That was a little bit painful. Is there an easier way to go about this? Well, as I said initially, I suspect that the reason why we had all these problems is because this Leptos website was created a few months ago. So I bet you that if I downgrade my Rust version, it's just going to work. Let's try that. So I reverted the cargo.lock version, and now I'm just going to use an older version of Rust. There you go. So I'm going to use this older version of 2023, and then I'm going to try running the thing again. And I got a similar error regarding WASM bindgen. Let me update just that one library. All right, so what that fixed the thing. Let me see if there's a way to configure the project so that it uses the right Rust version every time. So yes, the answer is yes. You can overwrite the toolchain that is used for this project by defining a Rust toolchain.toml file. You specify, in this case, I'm specifying that I want to use the nightly version, in particular, the one that came out on December 1st, 2023. I guess that's the version I wanted to use for Advent of Code or something. I don't know. So if I go outside of this folder, cargo.version is going to be the default that I use in my system, a version from August 21st. But if I go to Leptos website, cargo.version, my system default gets overwritten by this Rust toolchain.toml, and this makes sure that my code is going to actually build. So I think this is a pretty big flaw. Luckily, it's possible to remediate it by specifying a toolchain file, but it is still annoying. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.